We have a very important guest speaker that is joining us at this tail end, really to sum up some of what has been discussed today, but also give a view from his country, where he sees things going from an Asia, perhaps in Singapore lens. Allow me to introduce His Excellency, the US Ambassador Jonathan Kaplan, on stage. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending this critically important summit. Jessica and her team at EcoBusiness have put together what has seemed to be a great event. I got the pleasure of hearing this last panel, very, very inspiring. So let's give a big round of applause to her and her team. Now, I don't want to really get in the way of a well-deserved cocktail. So just give me a few short minutes to reflect on the importance of the work that you're all doing and why the United States cares. Also, the urgency of this work here in the Indo-Pacific region. Enabling a just and equitable transition to clean energy is a huge global task. You all know that. That's why you're here. Government, industry, research institutions, philanthropists, we must all work together. Now, I'm confident that technology innovation, targeted finance, both public, private, philanthropic partnerships can unlock the capital and pioneer effective solutions. I've really been impressed with the quality and diversity of speakers at this summit, sharing their best practices and their strong commitment to achieving an equitable, effective, and sustainable net zero transition for the region. But let's be clear, this is an enormous challenge. Science has shown us that time is actually running out. We simply must accelerate the transition to clean energy much, much, much faster. All of us do everything feasible to dramatically reduce our emissions and to limit the global temperature rise, ideally to less than 1.5 degrees Celsius. And the Biden administration has made climate change a central part of the United States' domestic agenda. But again, we must act fast. We're trying. We've passed transformative laws like the Inflation Reduction Act and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. And we're positioning the U.S. as a world leader in climate, committed to cut our emissions in half by 2030. The IRA is the largest ever investment in clean energy and climate action in United States history. It is projected to reduce over 1 billion tons of greenhouse gas emissions in just the next few years. These investments will not just help the United States. They will help create transformative technologies, help finance global climate initiatives, and bring historic changes to our world. The United States also recognizes that we just can't do this alone. We need world leaders to work together. We need international partnerships and global cooperation. Joint projects, even with competitors, even with those where we share little other common ground, with global powers, with small city-states, everyone must get involved. Here in Southeast Asia, just this past June, the United States and Singapore strengthened our climate partnership, agreeing to intensify our efforts in 5 key areas: regional energy transition, low and zero emission technology, climate capacity building, urban climate resilience, and carbon market development. For the last 10 years, the US and Singapore have been offering innovative climate capacity building courses to government officials throughout Southeast Asia and to the ASEAN member states. Last year's programming included courses on renewable energy and sustainable and resilient infrastructure. This past November, the United States, Japan, and others from the region announced the launch of the Just Energy Transition Partnership in Indonesia. And in December, we announced a similar JET-P program in Vietnam with over $15 billion in seed capital. But it's just not enough. We must all do more. According to the IEA, clean energy investments in emerging economies must reach $1 trillion annually by 2030 for the world to hit net zero emissions by 2050. Public finance is an important part of this effort, but we all know that governments need help. We must mobilize private capital, philanthropic interests. We must align our investments towards zero emissions and climate resilience. This can be economic development for this region. Governments need to further develop policies and put in place incentives that help create demand for investing in a clean energy future. You all know that. That's why you're here. We have to challenge our domestic constituents to support these government efforts, because foreign policy begins with domestic policy, and that will not be easy. Many of you have heard me say that the United States is committed to building an Indo-Pacific region that is open, connected, prosperous, resilient, and secure. We are working with our partners to develop this region where trade and commerce support workers, raise all incomes, create indiscriminate opportunity for all, and protect and improve our planet. The United States understands that we are in this world together. We are not seeking success merely for ourselves or success at the expense of any other country. When we face global challenges, whether it be radical climate change, unexpected supply chain disruptions, health pandemics, or otherwise, our best chance at survival is to work together. So I challenge all of you, the financial institutions, the private industry, the researchers, the philanthropists, the wealthy individuals, all of us, partner with the United States. Partner with one another. Make a commitment to this equitable transition in Asia and the world, a commitment to our children and to our future. I'm confident that my remarks will not just be the end of this event, but the beginning of these discussions and a rededication of our shared efforts to make something happen and happen quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, excuse me. Thank you, Ambassador Kaplan. That was really, really hopeful. And I think I'm going to stand here if it's okay. All right, you might hear me better. But allow me again let's put another round of applause for Ambassador Kaplan. I think it gives a very good sign and hope for what's to come. I think all of us do want the same things. But as Maria had said earlier just now, it takes a village to fix the climate. So all of us here are in a village that are looking at the same direction. So hopefully all of us go back feeling inspired for the next couple of months and we're able to do what we can to fix some of the issues that are urgent in place. All right, so now we've come to the end of our session for the day. Thank you again, one and all, for joining us. It's been a very, very hectic, very tightly packed schedule, and I'm just going to recap very quickly on what are some of the discussions we had today. We started out with inviting the regulators to set the tone on what they're seeing, in the months ahead, but also what they view as really important to them, for their own respective markets. And then after that, we had a very interesting bunch of people coming from the financial institutions telling us that the reality on the ground isn't so easy, not enough bankable projects, a lot of challenges they face. If things were paved better, we could have fixed it better. So I think what they say is we need a bit more time, we need a bit more collaboration, we need more, I guess, signs, signals, that point to the fact that everyone is trying to decarbonize in an effective manner. And then after that, we broke for lunch and then came back and had the UN Environment Programme, Ms. Liesel van Erst, join us to give a very, I would say, thought-provoking and very helpful, overview of what the UN is seeing on the horizon. And then we had a really interesting segment, I'm sure a lot of you were staying tuned on, and that was the debate session. Very surprising turn of events. What came out as the for, a lot of you started out voting for carbon credits, ended up actually voting against it. So very interesting turn of the outcomes there. Then we discussed climate tech and where the challenges are before we had two very special people come on speaking about the role of the board. I think that was a very exhilarating, share of anecdotes, from Singapore Airlines to ComfortDelGro, to very different, perspectives from the boards where the challenges really lie from their perspective. And then last but not least, we finished the closing plenary with a mobilizing of climate action through partnerships. And I think here, again, I wanted to echo my colleagues, Naina and Maria, talking about some of the challenges they face. But again, it takes a village to make things happen. So, do we all need a drink? I believe so. All right, so without further ado, thank you again to our sponsors, Google, our technology partner, as well as BDO Unibank, RGE, as well as UOB, our treasured partners, as well as supporting partners, Pollination, OCBC, and SM Investments, and all our other outreach partners who have really been, there with us right from the start. Thank you very much for all your support. Again, just two more things if I could. One is that we would like you to fill up your employee survey. Not employee survey. I really need a drink. I really care about what people think. Feedback survey, gosh. Feedback survey on the little cards that you all have there. Very important, because we really want to know what went well, what we didn't do well, but also tell us how you came through the carbon footprint calculator. My team is working really hard to calculate our carbon footprint, so please do us a favor and tell us how you came today. Did I take off everything? I hope I did. Okay, and now let's break for drinks. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today.